In this presentation, I'm going to focus on some well-known methodologies and try to systemize a lesson so that students can take their responsibility and improve their autonomous learning abilities more. With this purpose, I'm going to focus on the writing. There may be different approach to writing. Some students may write to learn how to write. Some other students may write to learn content, language, and so on. But it doesn't matter. These things are intertwined, and as they focus one of the aspect of writing, they also improve their abilities in other aspects as well. They learn about content, they improve their language, and they improve their writing abilities as well, actually. And when I thought about this lesson, different methodologies came to my mind, and three of them were reading to write methodology, flipping methodology, and collaborative learning methodologies. Of course, at this time, we can have more opportunities to use technological facilities, and in this way, hopefully, I may increase the level of awareness of my students about this hedging. And I'm going to start with reading to write, and so it is basically reading, thinking reading as a kind of input so that can be incorporated into writing. There can be different benefits of this methodology, and some of them are, for example, it can increase the interest and writing confidence of our students, and again, writing performance may be higher according to some researchers, and when they compared with only writing, reading to write improved the writing performance more. And the attitude of the students to reading to write may be more positive, and this is particularly the case when the task involves an unfamiliar subject. And one important advantage of this methodology is that students may be involved more with meaning making. So there can be more constructive meaning making activities during reading to write task. This is particularly the case for experienced writers. So there can be a proficiency level factor as well. For example, in some other cases, only writing may be more useful. If you want to improve your students' planning ability, then it can be more appropriate actually. Other than that, this difference, meaning making activity, is particularly valid for high-level learners, high proficiency level learners. Another methodology which I really find useful is flipped classroom. And in this classroom type, the students process the material before coming to the classes. There are lots of advantages of flipped classrooms because students can move at their own pace. In this way, they can learn more, take their own responsibilities more. And in the classes, the classroom time may be used more effectively and creatively. This list is directly taken from this. Again, in another review paper, the possible advantage for English language teaching is listed. The findings are listed in this way. For example, it enhances engagement of learners, peer interactions, and motivation may be boosted. Deep learning strategies.
In order to get insight how these deep learning strategies may be boosted, may be improved, we can refer to a cognitive model, Bloom's taxonomy. In this model, in this well-known model, we first memorize information, then understand, apply, analyze, create, and so on. And only the first two stages are generally achieved during the class time. You just memorize information and hopefully you understand information. But in flipped learning model, you are expected to understand the material before coming to the class, so you can have an opportunity to use class time to apply, analyze, and even to create basing on your obtained knowledge. This is another way of showing the same thing actually. So you remember and understand before the class and process information in lower order, then you come to the class and process information in higher order with your friends. You get immediate feedback. You may stimulate your interests because you are going to talk about it. You are going to apply, analyze, evaluate, hopefully, your obtained knowledge and maybe create something original. So sometimes students may skip this stage if they are left alone, if they are expected to complete this stage, to work on this stage at their own pace. But during the class time, they may be more interactive, can communicate with their friends, with their teacher, and construct their knowledge in deeper level. This can be a kind of habit for them, and hopefully they can improve their deep learning strategies in this way.
In my opinion, one of the most important advantages of flipped classroom is improving learner autonomy, which is defined as the capacity of learners to regulate their own studies, basing on their competence and so on. So there are some studies which indicate that actually flipped classes may improve learner autonomy, probably because they may have clearer plans for their own studies and they can establish some practical goals for themselves basing on their competence level, and they can realize their own mistakes and they can realize the gap, what they know and what they do not know, and can bring some questions to the classes and may reflect to the passages, for example, or the things that process outside the classes, and can be more creative during the class time because they are going to have some idea what's going to be processed during the class time. Another important thing to emphasize may be the role of collaboratively learning, which refers to co-construction or co-authorship of a text, for example. So in these kinds of tasks, students may find an opportunity to bring ideas together. They can actively manipulate and they can be more constructive and reflective. They integrate the new ideas with prior knowledge, may share ideas with each other and negotiate problems, discuss solutions. Thanks to this kind of collaborative learning, the students may be aware of their gaps, what they know, what they need to know, need to learn, so they can set their goals realistically. And in these collaborative tasks, the advantage is that the learners may be placed at the center of learning process rather than teacher. And again, autonomy of the learner may be improved. Of course, there will be more interaction and knowledge co-construction, importantly. And there can be opportunities for negotiation of meaning. Again, importantly, they can, of course, in this context, may improve their language learning opportunities and reach to higher accuracy and complexity in their lexical and grammatical knowledge. When we talk about collaborative learning, one of the applications which comes to our minds may be wikis, because they are widely used in collaborative tasks. The usage of these wikis and collaborative tasks are also related to engagement theory. It's a kind of framework actually for the usage of technology and collaboration in learning. There are three components in this theory. One of them is relating. You interpret a problem basing on your knowledge and adapt in this way multiple perspectives. One of the students says something, interpreting a different way, the other student interprets in another way, and in this way you can gain multiple perspectives. Creating is another component, application of ideas in a specific context. So you can have some ideas and you may apply these ideas to solve a problem in a specific context. Donating is the third component, and it is the observation of authentic processes of the learner, which may result in a more satisfying and motivating situation. So wikis are great to apply these components because they encourage sharing, interacting, and solving a problem and presenting ideas. And it is very appropriate for collaborative tasks, of course. Some advantage of wiki is that they may be useful because they first actively involve learners in their construction of knowledge, and this is one of the tenets of constructivism actually. Constructivism is the driving force behind collaborative learning. So students can actively be involved in their own construction process, and they can share their knowledge with others. They can learn from others as well, and they may be engaged more rather than product-oriented writing. Writing as a process may be facilitated in these kinds of platforms. And again, individual thoughts of the learners may be followed. They can monitor their own thinking processes as they solve the problems. And these wikis may also be used as a kind of repository. For example, I created a wiki page in which almost everything included. After talking about these things, I want to share a sample lesson which I tried to organize basing on these kinds of methodologies. My primary aim was to increase the level of awareness of my students with respect to their usage of hedging and boosting, because I observed that they do not generally use this hedging strategy and they directly suggest something. My class was an intermediate level class, at least, okay, some of them. I separated this lesson into 3 stages. Before the target lesson stage, in this stage, actually this was also a full lesson. We read a passage, for example, and this passage was also processed in a flipped way. As usual, we started with a passage. The students worked on it and processed that before coming to the class. Particularly weak students may benefit from this kind of procedure. All the students may get some content so that they can work on it. This time it was a reading passage. I assigned the passage through our online kiosk learn page, and here I assigned this and sent a message to their WhatsApp group. They completed their homeworks and they have some individual pages here for each student. I created a forum and they are restricted to their own. They always send their homeworks before coming to the classes. So, for example, this student completed the work before coming to the class. Then during the lesson, we checked the answers quickly and worked on this passage in more detail and talked about it. Students shared their own ideas about this slow food movement. I drew the attention of the students to some structures, but didn't work on it too much. For example, this one, our defense should begin. So what can be the difference between using should or have to? This was the first step. Then I assigned another homework. I shared an assignment with my students. I shared this PowerPoint presentation, which I prepared before, through WhatsApp group. Here, I took the screenshot of my computer as I present this PPT shortly and shared it with my students. Arkadaşlar yarınki derste hedging ve boosting çalışacağız. Her zaman yaptığımız gibi öncesinde bir göz atmamız gerekiyor konuya. Ne kullanacağız göz atarken? 2 tane materyal var. Bir PowerPoint, bir tane de supplementary materyal. İkisini de göstereceğim hızlıca. Bu PowerPoint'i önce başlarım yerinizde olsam. Boosting, hedging nedir bunlar? Bir göz atın internete, anlamlarını çıkarmaya çalışın. Burada zaten tarif ediliyor sonunda da. Şu aktiviteleri yapabilirsiniz. Yani burada bir şey söylüyor kız mesela. Bu bir şey değiştiriyor ve neyi değiştiriyor burada gibi. Look at the following course and karşına şey observations. Yani ne oluyor burada da hedging veya boosting oluyor? Bu kim booster, kim hedger? Bir düşünebilirsiniz. Kim daha böyle net nasıl söyleyeyim, kendinden çok emin konuşuyor. Kim biraz daha ya o kadar emin değil falan gibi konuşuyor. Bunları bir göz atın. Şurada çok güzel tarif var mesela hedging ve boosting. Yüz ifadeleri falan bakarak çıkartabilirsiniz. Hedging'in tarifleri, ondan sonra hangi phrase'ler onunla daha çok associate edilmiş, hedging'de daha çok kullanılıyor. Bunlar da biraz kategorize edilmiş hali. Burada bir örnek var hedge için. Ne yapmış? Possible demeyi kullanmış mesela. Neden kullanıyorsunuz hedge'leri? Neden faydalı bunlar? Buna bakabilirsiniz. Ondan sonra boosting diye bir şey var. Yani tam tersi onun. Zaten okuduğunuz zaman anlayacaksınızdır. Onun bir tanımı var. Neler onunla associate edilmiş? Onlar kullanılıyor. Örneklerin içine buna göz atabilirsiniz. Neden kullanıyoruz booster'ı? Yine onunla ilgili bir şey. Bitirdikten sonra bir pratik kısmı var. Pratik kısmında şuraya tıkladığınız zaman şimdi short video. Buna tıkladığım zaman şuradaki Nature of Writing diye bir şey çıkacak. Oraya da göz atabilirsiniz, izleyebilirsiniz. Sonrasında şöyle güzel bir web sayfası var. Ona tıkladığınız zaman orada egzersizler var. Mesela viewing a movie in which alcohol is portrayed appears to lead. Hani appears to lead dediği zaman kesin bir şey mi söylüyor yoksa yumuşatıyor mu o zaman? Hedging mi değil mi? Amaç sizin kendi kendinize bir şeyleri bulup çıkartabilmeniz, öğrenebilmeniz. Peki bunu yaptık. Geldik sunuma tekrar. Sağ tıkladım. Şurası çıktı. Bir de bunu Let's Practice kısmını yapmanızı rica ediyorum. İşte burada 2 tane cümle var. Bunların hangisi hedging, hangisi boosting. In class practice kısmı var. Yarın yapacağız. Yine bu sınıfta beraber yapacağımız uygulamalar, şu grup aktivitesi falan vesaire. Tamam, yani bu kadardı. Belki. Ya buradakileri de cevaplayın lütfen. Zaten aynı şeylerden bahsediyor. Sunumu anladıysanız, çalıştıysanız bunu da kolayca anlayacaksınızdır. Çok kısa aktiviteler var. Bunları da bir kağıda yazıp resmini çekip yollayabilirsiniz. Tamam, teşekkür ederim. Kolay gelsin. The procedure for sharing their assignments was the same. They completed their homeworks after processing this PowerPoint presentation and then shared their answers through their own page. Some of them prefer taking pictures and sending them, and some others prefer writing the answers as a text. I checked this before the lesson, and thanks to them, most of the students completed their homeworks. So we could work on this more during the lesson. During the target lesson, what does this cartoon tell? Can you please lead us, any of you? What is going on here?
Teacher, she's saying something with certain ideas or thoughts, but he says you don't know the past exactly, and she agree. about hedging, and she's boosting, but
Yes.
she says hedging. You have
The
to.
person in the wheelchair teaches to hedge, actually, in a way. Yes, you are right. Anybody else who wants to add anything? Okay. A different person, please. Can you explain what is going on here? Another student, lead us here. What is going on? Tell us, please.
Photograph.
Mhm.
The person is not sure. It's possible, but not certain. For this, this is hedging. In the second photo, the person says definitely. So he is sure. For this, it's boosting.
Mm-hmm. And there are some definitions. I took them from different articles. Induction means what? This one. Negotiation. Why is it important for negotiation?
Imprecise proposals.
In this case. Boosters. So what about boosters? Who can talk about this part? What's going on here?
When you want to make something more clear and obvious, you boost your writing.
Time to time. Why can we use it?
We use it in things we are sure, teacher.
We are sure. We want to show that, okay, I know this thing. I'm sure of myself. I'm 100% sure. This is also a kind of rhetorical strategy. You can sometimes want to close down positive alternatives. Hani kırmızı çizgilerimiz var falan diyorlar ya mesela. This is an example maybe. Okay, here there were some examples you have already completed. Which one is hedging? Which one is boosting for the first one?
First one is hedging. Second, boosting.
First one is övünç. And the next one, I suggested that which one is hedging, which as an example for hedging, and which one is an example for boosting. So it is. You can just put tamam yani baş harfini koyman yeterli. The last one was done by Buket, I think. Nowadays urgency symptoms are of a lesser order. Good. So you can. So there are 8 statements here, and these are created by using boosting language. Just choose 2 of them, 2 of these sentences, hedge them, and post to chat box. Playing violent video games can cause more aggression, bullying, and yes, can cause. Most people think that climate change is. Buket, we use is or may, one of them. Change may be caused by human activities. And the main concern for the future, Alena, generations might be global food supplies, yes. Most people think climate change could be, Muharrem, yes. And Emir, the key factor of diverse may be gender hierarchy. Saying the possible key factor of diverse is gender hierarchy and gender inequality. Absolutely. And Doğa, some professors are sure playing violent video games causes more aggression, bullying, and fights. Absolutely. And the main concerns can be global food supplies and population growth for the future generations. Everybody agrees that the main cause of a financial crash could be subprime mortgage lending. Could be, yes. So you hedge it here. The next activity, we are going to create sentences, examples for hedging and boosting. First, write a sentence as an example for boosting. Okay? I'm going to share my screen as well. First, write a boosting example just next to your name. Then somebody else is going to change your sentence by hedging. So go to this page and create an example for boosting, and then another example, then somebody else. For example, Alena is going to create a sentence for boosting. Then Muharrem is going to change this example and create an example for hedging. And in the other part, Hüseyin said COVID-19 change word order. Ferhat says COVID-19 can change word order. So hedge is, it seems that you understand. Any questions about this boosting, hedging thing?
Okay, then if you don't have any questions, let us continue with our group project, wiki project.
Here is the link in our main page. You can go to our course page and click on this link that I created for you, the wiki page. There are 4 different groups. Choose yours and you can give a nickname, okay, as Angels already did. Then go to your page and click on edit. Read the task carefully. You need to create 2 passages about slow food movement. We already read a passage, a long passage about this, so you have information about that. You can create 2 passages. One will be an example for boosting, so use some clues for boosting in that passage, and the other one for hedging. After finishing, color the cues for boosting and hedging with red and green colors respectively. Then we are going to jigsaw the groups and present your paragraphs and evaluate them. So one boosting paragraph here and one hedging paragraph here. Work on it together. If you don't have any questions, I'm going to create the groups.
After they completed the projects, I quickly checked the paragraphs, and the students made short presentations about their own projects, and they evaluated each other's work. We talked about them, and generally I gave positive feedback, and they also gave positive feedback to each other's work. As my students work on their projects, I visited these groups' rooms from time to time and talked to them about the project. And after they completed the project, I once again visited their wiki page and checked their work.
Okay, this is the paragraphs created by the first group. One person from first group. Can you please describe what's going on here?
I can, teacher.
Okay, I'm listening. You are listening.
We want to talk about slow food's aims in this passage.
Mhm.
And for this, we say certain words because the slow food is working for this aims, and this is certain. For this, we say definitely, certainly.
Yes.
And this is boosting for this passage.
Okay. Any questions about this part? The other students, anything you want to ask to Sude? If there is another group member, it can be better. Another volunteers? Okay, Sude, go on, please.
In the second passage, we want to say not certain and possible things. For example, in the first sentence, slow food organization might be a new perspective because they can't be a new perspective too. It's up to us. If we don't notice their work, they can't be a new perspective. For this, we use hedging, and we use might, think, may, and like this words, not certain words. And that's it, I think.
Thank you very much. Any questions to Sude? And other group members, do you want to contribute? Do you want to add something? Thank you very much, group 1 and Sude. And has Angels, the second group.
Eda said, I want to do present.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Eda, we waiting you.
One of you can start and the other one can continue.
We talk about the studies. Global English advertisement yok. For the boosting paragraph, generally, we use strong words, like strongly and certainly.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions to Muharrem? Or anything you want to add to Muharrem's statements from the second group? Group 3.
Teacher, maybe I can.
Okay, we are listening.
Actually, we paraphrased some parts of reading one.
Mhm.
In the first one, boosting, we use completely, certain, and certainly convinced, probably, for boosting. And for hedging, we use probably, it seems, and seems, can. We use that word.
Okay. So you softened your statement by using these hedgers, kind of markers for hedging, and the other ones for boosting. Good one. Anything else you want to add, or the other group members?
Yeah, welcome.
This was another good work. So you talked about slow foot movements, and some statements were boosted, some statements were hedged. Okay, and the last group, group 4.
Teacher, I can.
Yes. Okay, we are listening. You can share, by the way, maybe if the other group was...
In the first paragraph, it says how slow food works, and people started using it, so we used precise words. And the second paragraph, we use the words that were possible because they say things that had not yet come true and were likely to happen.
Okay, thank you. Any other things?
Teacher, also we mentioned about the negative effect of environment on the environment, and we focused on what can we do to stop this thing, and there are a lot of possibility.
Mhm.
For the second paragraph, we use some words, for example, yes, can be, and might be. We show to you what can we do, what possibility we can do, and that's
Okay. Thank you very much, Ferhat. Any questions to group 4? Any comments you want to make?
Thank you very much. In order to get insight how these deep learning strategies may be boosted, may be improved, we can refer to a cognitive model, Bloom's taxonomy. In this model, in this well-known model, we first memorize information, then understand, apply, analyze, create, and so on. And only the first 2 stages are generally achieved during the class time. You just memorize information and
hopefully you understand information. But in flipped learning model, you are expected to understand the material before coming to the class, so you can have more time you can have an opportunity to use class time to apply, analyze, and even to create some material basing on your obtained knowledge. This is another way of showing the same thing actually. So you remember and understand before the class and process information in lower order. Then you come to the class and process information in higher order with your friends. You get immediate feedback, and you may stimulate your interests because you are going to talk about it. You are going to apply, analyze, evaluate, hopefully your obtained knowledge, and maybe create something original. So sometimes students may skip this stage if they are left alone, if they are expected to complete this stage, to work on this stage at their own pace. But during the class time, they may be more interactive, can communicate with their friends, with their teacher, and in a way construct their knowledge in a deeper level. So this can be a kind of habit for them, and hopefully they can improve their deep learning strategies in this way.